Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, my friends. Let's talk about your Airbnb. You probably have 1, 2, 3, maybe more Airbnbs right now. And if you're watching the video, more than likely, you're not getting the results you want. I talk to hosts every day that are struggling out there with their Airbnbs. We take on our clients for own management very often that are struggling. Usually, almost always they're struggling, which is why they call me. So I'm gonna give you some just 3 basic tips you can do very quickly to increase your bookings. Now, I want to be clear, a lot of Airbnbs are struggling for reasons that are bigger than 3 quick tips. So maybe you need to do some actual on-site changes to your Airbnb. That'll be a different video. Right now, what can you do that's actually going to be 3 things you can do fairly quickly to make a big difference. And if we're talking just Airbnb today, there's a whole different set of things with other booking channels, but Airbnb is the most sensitive to what you're doing. First thing, which seems obvious, but it really amazes me how often people do not pay attention to the photos. I'm going to show you some examples. Globally, pretty much, if you were to go through like 10 Airbnb listings, 8 of them have terrible photos. So it's actually pretty easy to find. Here on my screen, I've done a little search in Austin, Texas, which is an advanced Airbnb market. I'm pulling up some properties that I want to show you examples of what I'm talking about. All these properties the calendars are empty, which is pretty common. Our calendars are packed full. This one, if you look at the listing, right, he's got photos. I see it's very commonly where they just put photos, there's no real rhyme or reason to them. Your first 5 photos are extremely, extremely important. And if you've heard this before, I want to kind of give you an example as to what I mean by that. The 5 photos are what captures the guests to click here on show all your photos. If I was going to book an Airbnb, which I do frequently, by the way, I stay in them in all over the world. I don't even bother going to this if the hero shot's not good enough. And then your other 4 photos should be enough to say, man, I really want to see more about that property. They have another issue, the reviews are terrible. But photos first, right? Your first photo should be one that draws you in. Now, this is more difficult, right? If you have a pool or a nice big house, it's much easier to find a really cool hero shot, right? So you got to work harder, actually, with smaller, like a 1-bedroom apartment, to find a good hero shot. What I would do is probably focus more on location more than anything else. Find a good location shot and put that as your hero shot. Find whatever is the #1 reason for someone to book your Airbnb should be your hero shot. So just posting a photo like you're listing on a Zillow or something is a completely different strategy. 1 bedrooms are very difficult, but what I would have done on this one is I would rotate it. First of all, get rid of this picture. All our properties are full of Santas, get rid of them. I've experimented a lot, by the way. Generally speaking, you want to just avoid text on Airbnb photos. I've tried it. It just doesn't really do any good. Here you see they got duplicated photos too. You don't want that. You don't want redundant photos. It actually kills your narrative flow. You see how this neighborhood has a pickleball court? That should be one of the first 5 photos, right? And it should be a better photo than this, like a professional photo. This one looks kind of pixelated and grainy. And if you have a pixelated, grainy photo by that, ChatGPT, just go in there, tell ChatGPT to make it look not pixelated and grainy, and you'll get a beautiful photo. Exact same thing, so you're not misleading anybody, but at least will look professional and cleaner. You got amenities, community amenities here. You've got a barbecue. You got a lot of things that are of value that are not in the first 5 photos. The kitchen this kitchen photo at the front here looks like the sofa is right in the kitchen. Knowing real estate as I do, I'm willing to bet it's not as bad as it looks in that photo. If it is, then that's a design issue, but you want to probably even just do the kitchen by itself and break that up a little bit. So remember, your first photo says that it tells a story, some kind of story. Now the question is, what story are you telling? And so, if the story you're telling is, I'm going to give you an Airbnb with a really, really small kitchen where you're still within the middle of your kitchen, and who's your target audience, right? If the story is, it's an affordable place where you have great little amenities in the community, a great location close to something, that should be in your first 5 photos. So keep that in mind. On this one, on Cozy Studio in Tarrytown, great reviews. So the place is probably pretty nice, but the calendar is empty. You can have great reviews, but not be getting a lot of bookings. And one of the things that really just is most tragic to me is when you see a beautiful Airbnb and the photos just do not support the listing. The first photo is, what story are you telling? The story you're telling is a small dark bedroom. Now you'll get bookings because some people don't care, but you're not going to know the ones you're missing out. Every photo in this listing is dark, dark, dark. And not dark like with that cool ambient lighting dark, just kind of dark and looks outdated. And that I'm willing to bet because it has great reviews, it's probably not as bad as it looks, but the photos give that impression. So again, what story are you telling? Yeah, in this case, they need to take professional photos. A lot of you are trying to get away with iPhone photos. You really, really, really should not do that. Here you got a room with a picture of a table. I don't know what it's for. And hangers. Like there's no value to this whatsoever. There's not really even enough photos here. There's not a single photo of the exterior. You're kind of really hurting yourself when you don't take the time to put photos in. So you got 3 photos in the first 5 of bathrooms. This actually looks like a nice bathroom, not well shot. Hire a professional photographer, and when you hire one, make sure they understand how to shoot short-term rentals. Most do not. This one is a little bit better shot. I still would like to see better lighting, better staging of the photos. Put some decorative pillows out there. Just give me a little bit more of a story that you're telling me, but at least this one tells me a story of, hey, it's spacious and there's a big screen TV, and it's something, right? But you also want to make sure that all your photos, if it's of value, make sure your listing really emphasizes the location. This one has got 1, 2, 3 photos of the bedroom, 4 of the first 5 of the bedroom. That's not going to work. Calendar is completely empty for the next 2 months. You're killing yourself when you don't pay attention to detail on your photos. What's the story telling me? That it has a bed. That's all you're telling me. Find something else. The living room actually looks nice. I mean, the kitchen looks nice. At least they open the shower. A lot of photos see they have the shower curtain closed. You can't even see where you're going to be taking a shower. Personally, I always look for the shower. It's the first thing I look at. Why? Because people always leave it off. If it's ugly, they kind of forget about it. And globally speaking, like showers can run the gamut, right? I've stayed in places where showers is horrific, especially when you go to Europe or Asia, where you might be your toilet in the shower. I had that once in Hong Kong, literally. So I learned my lesson. If you have a shower that's at all functional and clean looking, give me a good photo of your shower. Kitchen too. Kitchen, showers, they matter a lot. The beds matter. Does the bed look plush and comfortable? That's your photos. Next thing I want to talk about is your content itself. On these same, we'll use the same listings since we got them up. The listing itself, the headline, this one says Bright East Riverside Loft. I don't know what East Riverside is, but if I was going to Austin, I probably would care. The location is great. 10 minutes from downtown, great. 10 minutes from somewhere, 10 minutes from Disneyland, or 10 minutes from the ski resort. Something needs to be in there about location, because that's the number one thing people choose when they're narrowing down an Airbnb. The rest of it, if you scroll down, where there is an opportunity to put in some details, there's like 1 sentence, which is unbelievable, really, right? It's 1 sentence. Airbnb gives you a pretty much unlimited ability to write in something there. What I would focus on is every question you've got from a guest, okay, pre-answer that question in your remarks. So what I always post in there is exactly how far it is to the nearest thing of importance. If it's a long-term stay, always put hospitals in there. If it's or schools, universities in there. If it's a short, Las Vegas, we do a lot of tourist stuff. So how far to, Allegiant Stadium or to the airport? People care about that. Put that right in your remarks. Put in your amenities that matter. And Airbnb will tell you, by the way, which amenities matter. The ones that matter most are going to be air conditioning. Surprisingly, that's like highly ranked. And again, in Texas or Vegas, you need air conditioning, so better be on there. Cool air conditioning, fast Wi-Fi. These ones that are harder to market, like 1 bedrooms, you really want to focus on what you do have, not what you don't have. You don't have a private pool, you don't have a sauna. We got private saunas and pools and pickleball courts, but you do have fast Wi-Fi, and if you don't get it, Wi-Fi, I'm assuming you have air conditioning if you're in like Texas or Vegas, so put in cold air conditioning in every room. Super fast Wi-Fi in every room. Put those amenities in there and use some of that real estate. In this day and age, you got ChatGPT that can write it for you. There's no excuse. This one I'm looking at now is 1 bedroom king suite with pickleball and laundry. Great, by the way. King suite, important keyword. If you have a king bed, especially in an apartment, put that in there. People really, really care about that. Gym, pickleball, laundry, great. This one has much better remarks. You see how they put in downtown 8 minutes, the park, the space is great. They put in some extra notes here, which is important. This is good. I can already tell. This is good stuff. I would probably put in a little bit less of things to note. Like they put in like a long list of things to note, like rules. You really want to be careful with that. Some things you have to put in there, I get it, but put the bare minimum and keep it very succinct, because what I've also found is that some people really don't like a laundry list of rules and restrictions before they book. Even if they don't intend to break the rules, they find it very off-putting. I find it off-putting, and I'm obviously a very, very good guest, but when I get like all that stuff in the front, I'm like, it sounds like a pain, I'll just go to the next listing. Don't focus on the 1 out of 50 guests that are gonna be a problem and eliminate a ton of other guests. Other thing is with your content, your reviews, when you're at 4.53 on reviews like they are, you're pretty much dead to Airbnb. So this is what a scenario where you have to look at your listing at a very deep level. If you have 4.53, just DM me at that point. I mean, you got to look at some more extreme measures. Usually if you're like 4.7 or 4.8 and you have a few reviews, you can get serious reviews to get it up. In this case, you got 36 reviews. If you get maybe like 45-star reviews, you'll be where you need to be. So it's a long, long road to get there. The good news is that Airbnb ranks reviews. The most recent reviews, they rank more important than reviews in the past. If you're at 4.53, it's not as bad as it sounds if you had recent reviews that are good, which they don't have, right? Really. So if you look at most recent reviews here, they got 2 reviews in June, they got a couple of reviews in May, 1 in May, 1 in April. There's not enough activity there. So as a recap, first one, photos, second, content, third is booking pace. It's never talked about. Airbnb more about pace of things than they do about the absolute number. Meaning, if you have a pace of good reviews, it matters more than how many reviews you have. So for example, if your listing is rated 4.9, but you've had no reviews in the last year and a half, your booking pace, your momentum is low. If you have a 4.53 like these guys do, but you had like 10 straight 5-star reviews, that will rank higher, even though your number is low. They want to see recency. What's happening now? What's activity going on? Like, are we seeing more bookings? Are we seeing more people choose your listing? So booking pace, you got to drive booking pace when you have no bookings. And this is something that I get a debate with my clients, because typically when I take someone on as a new client that already has an Airbnb that's not doing well, they operate in this absolutist. It's like, oh my God, I got to get this price and not a penny less. So booking pace, you can drive it in a few ways. You drive it by getting 5-star reviews, okay? Do whatever it takes to get 5-star reviews. Your next 5 guests get all 5-star reviews. Don't argue with them over piddly stuff. If you did something wrong, give them a refund. Just make them happy. Send them cookies, send them flowers. I'm dead serious. This is how we recover some listings, by the way, is by like killing guests with kindness and with showering them with even extra attention, because a listing needs to be recovered. The cost of sending them some cookies or some sweets or some snacks or a bottle of champagne is far cheaper than having an empty calendar. Get to your next 5-star reviews, next 5 ones. And by the way, you have to ask for reviews, okay? It's very important. People say, oh, you shouldn't ask for a review. You're crazy. Ask for a review. Tell them why a 5-star review matters so much compared to a 4-star review. They don't know. They think a 4-star review is a good review. A 4-star review is disastrous, okay? Disastrous. Yeah, sure, 1 star is worse, but I would argue a 4-star is worse, because typically a 4-star review, 9 times out of 10, they were happy, and they just didn't know any better. I mean, 1-star review, that's your problem. You should have solved the problem. Reach out to every guest when they check out and say, if you had a great time, I would appreciate a 5-star review. Just so you know, a 4-star review, Airbnb will penalize me for a 4-star review, which is true, 100% true, verifiable, by the way, right? A 4-star rated property will be suspended from Airbnb, as we all know. So it doesn't matter. Tell them that. You'd be surprised how often they'll say, oh, I had a little issue here and there, but I'll put it in the private notes to give you a 5-star review because I don't want to hurt your business. But so many hosts don't ask. They're too afraid to ask, and then you get a 4-star review, and that's how you end up with a 4.5 rated Airbnb that's empty. You can drive booking metrics with good reviews. Pricing is also very, very important, maybe more important. Pricing means that you reduce your prices, okay, to rate you higher and get more bookings, but it's not forever. So if you don't have price labs or you don't have some kind of system to track pricing, get that first of all. But if you want to do it manually, you got to do it every day. So you got to really pay attention to it. So you price lower immediately, your entire calendar out to generate the opportunity for more bookings. Make sure your calendar does not have a bunch of blocks on it. So if you have a bunch of calendar blocks for no reason, get rid of them, okay? If you want to block off dates for maintenance or something like that, just keep it minimal, or just raise the pricing for those dates if you have to, but you want to really keep your blocks to a minimum. If Airbnb looks at your calendar and you got a bunch of blocks everywhere, you lose momentum right off the bat. If your listing is offline because you want to do some work for a month, you drop momentum. If your pricing is overall not in line with the market, you lose momentum. So you drop your pricing to generate bookings. Not forever, just get 3 bookings. That's all. I want you to drop it to get 3 bookings. Drop it, make sure your calendar is not set to a 7-day minimums if you don't need to. Try to do a 3-night minimum, or 2-night minimum is ideal, I think, if you get there. Some of you can't for various reasons, I get that, but don't be stuck on 5 nights just for your own pride, okay? I've had 50,000 guests. I mean, the 98% of guests that book 2 nights are just fine. But if you book 5 nights, a bunch of your calendar will show as blocked, and that will kill your booking momentum. So open up more dates, at least a year out of dates open up. You will see, you look for 3 bookings, and then you start inching up your pricing incrementally back to where you want it to be. But once your booking momentum is taken off, as we found repeatedly from testing it, is you will get better pricing in the long term. And in the long term, I mean like a month from now, you're gonna see a whole different world if you get momentum going. Until you have momentum, you have nothing. So change your photos, change your remarks, change your pricing. If none of that works, change them again. Find a different approach, get some feedback, okay? Talk to your AI. AI can do it for you now. Get more feedback. Keep changing it. I will give it maybe a week. If you don't see booking pace pick up in a week, you're probably not where you need to be. You need to fix something else. You will know you're on the right track. You will see bookings come in waves, right? You'll see 2, 3, 4, 5 come in a 3 or 4 day span, especially if your calendar is empty, which again, if you're watching this, probably is. Calendar is empty, you'll see them come in waves, and then you'll be able to adjust pricing upwards, okay? Any questions, just DM me. Happy to help, and good luck out there.